Hi everyone, welcome back to Stamp with Anna, and today I'm going to show you another card I'm making. I made as a customer thank you, and as I've been saying, usually when I send out my customer thank you cards, I design one card and then I just mass produce them and send them to everyone who has submitted an order. But this time I decided to do something a little different. I decided to send all my customers a card that was made using some of the products that they ordered, if I had them. So that way, when they go and get their products, they have at least one idea on how to use what they're going to use their product on, and it's just an extra idea if they already know what they're going to do with it. So this is one that I made. This particular customer ordered Coastal Cabana and Blushing Bride ink. And she also ordered the Friends Are Like Seashells bundle. I did not have that, but I did have I had the inks, obviously, but I did have this Seashells embossing folder. So I thought, okay, if I don't have the stamp and the dies, at least I have the embossing folder. It's along the same lines. So I did use her two colors, which were Coastal Cabana and Blushing Bride, and did come up with a card for her. Now, I don't know if you can see this, but this just has a gorgeous sparkle in it, and I'm going to show you how we did that. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is use this wonderful embossing folder. I'm going to bring up my Big Shot. And I still have my old one. I haven't gotten the new one yet. So I have, it's a 3D embossing folder, so I do have the thick blue plate. So here's my Big Shot platform. And here is the embossing folder. And I'm going to put my paper in. And I'm going to try to line that up so that I get a good image on the other side. So I'm going to place that on the plate, and then I'm going to run it through the Big Shot. I'm going to run it back. And here is my beautifully embossed Whisper White. So now I'm going to bring in a piece of scrap paper because I'm going to sponge. I have my Coastal Cabana ink, and I have my Blushing Bride. Now, without getting too intricate, I wanted to just showcase these two colors. So what I decided, any of the shells I was going to do in the Blushing Bride, and anything around I was going to do it in the Coastal Cabana, and then I was going to come in and do the edges with the Coastal Cabana just to give it a little bit of a definition along the card. So what I'm going to do, I have a quartered sponge, and I'm inking it up with Blushing Bride, and I'm going to very lightly go over the shells, and look at how nice that that shell pops up. Now, obviously, because there are the shells, they overlap. The inking is going to overlap from with the shell and the other stuff that's down there under the sea. So, and I'm going to come in with my Coastal Cabana, and I'm pretty much going to fill in where I didn't have any Blushing Bride. And I do want to get the edges. You do want to be a little careful because Blushing Bride and Coastal Cabana, if mixed too heavily, make a bit of a brown. So I'm going to try to avoid that. Okay, so there we have it. But I still want to fill in a little more, so I'm going to lightly try to come in and just fill in so that I have a little bit of blue on the inside. Okay, and now I think I'm happy with that. And I close up my inks. Now this is how I made my sparkle. I have a spritzer bottle and I filled it about halfway with water. And then I used this Frost White shimmer paint. And I shook it up and I dropped about 4 or 5 drops in there. And now I'm just gonna spray this. And it's gonna get very wet, but when it gets wet, it's going to be all glimmery. And you can see it's also reacting with the ink. So it's giving it a little bit more definition. Now, of course, my paper is soaking wet. So before I can do anything with this, I do have to dry it. So I'm gonna bring in my heat tool. And this dries really quickly. And I don't know how much of this is picking up on the camera, but it really shimmers very, very nicely. And it dries pretty quickly, like I said. Okay, it's nice and dry, but I'm gonna put it aside just for a little bit, okay? And I'm gonna just put the rest of my card together just to give it a little extra time. So now I have my Coastal Cabana, and I have another piece of Whisper White, which is 4 by 5 1/4. Oh, and that one that we just used was also 4 by 5 1/4. I guess I forgot to mention that. And I'm gonna drop this on the inside, and this is just a plain note card. It doesn't have any sentiment. Okay, so now I'm gonna take my beautiful, I hope you can see the shimmer in this. I don't know if it's gonna show, but it really does shimmer really, really nicely. I'm gonna turn it over, and I wanna make sure that I get good coverage because of glue, because there are a lot of deep crevices in this from the embossing folder. And I'm going to, it's a very small border. Okay. And now I wanted to add something else to this. You know me, it's always never enough. So I did find this shimmer ribbon I have in my stash. It's Pool Party. And although I used Coastal Cabana on the card, I thought the Pool Party looked good with it. Let's see. So I'm gonna just tie a bow off the bottom left. Actually, I'm just gonna tie it and then I will position it where I want it to go. Okay, so my bow is made and I'm gonna bring it down here. I want it on this side of the bottom of the card. Let's bring it down to where I want it to be. Fuss with that a little bit. Cut my tails. Now I do want this bow to stay exactly where I put it, so I'm gonna bring in a glue dot. And I'm gonna put that right behind the bow so it doesn't move. And now all I have to do is attach this to my card base. And I think I've forgotten to give you the measurements of the cardstock. The base, Coastal Cabana, is 4 1/4 by 11, scored at 5 1/2. The Blushing Bride matte is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and the Whisper White card front is 4 by 5 1/4, as is the one on the inside. So there we have it. And I was a little stumped with this one. I wasn't quite sure what I was going to do, but it all came to me, and I hope you can see that gorgeous shimmer from the shimmer paint, which was no, I used the champagne. Nope, I guess I used the frost white. It's frost white. So if you have any questions at all about this project or any of the products that I've used, certainly contact me through my blog, www.stampwithanna.blogspot.com. And if you have, do not have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator with whom you work, let me know, and I'll be glad to send you out a catalog. And while you're here, I'd love it if you would subscribe to my channel and give a like if you like this project. Thanks so much, and I'll catch you back here later.